Hi, it's Katrina! From an evil goddess out to eat you to a tower of human skulls, here are 9 of the strangest archaeological discoveries in the world. Number 9. Lamashtu plaque. Lamashtu was a demon of Mesopotamian mythology and the daughter of the sky god Anu. She menaced women during childbirth and kidnapped their babies while they were breastfeeding. In addition to gnawing on children's bones and sucking their blood, Lamashtu committed numerous other misdeeds, including eating men, interrupting people's sleep, destroying nature, infesting freshwater bodies such as rivers and lakes, and inflicting disease. She's often depicted as having a hairy body, the head of a lioness, and a donkey's teeth and ears, as well as long fingers and fingernails, and bird feet with sharp talons. Images of Lamashtu typically show her atop a donkey, nursing a pig and dog, and with snakes in her hands. So how are you supposed to defend yourself from this monster? This plaque, housed at the Louvre in Paris, was created sometime during the 2nd or 1st millennium B.C. It was intended to be hung over someone's bed and designed to protect them against Lamashtu's evil behavior. The plaque's reverse side features Lamashtu's husband and rival Pazuzu, the bearer of storms and drought. He has a man's body, the head of a lion or a dog, eagle's talons, 2 pairs of wings, and a scorpion's tail. As the demon of the southwest wind, Pazuzu was blamed for bringing drought during dry seasons and locusts and storms during rainy seasons. Ironically, despite his sinister qualities, Pazuzu was occasionally invoked for protection from evil. He was known for guarding pregnant women and their children from Lamashtu, which perhaps explains why his likeness is on the reverse side of this Lamashtu tablet, where he is shown overlooking Lamashtu in a protective manner. Number 8. Mistaken biblical identity. A shocking new study reveals that bones previously thought to belong to St. James the Younger, one of the 12 apostles and possibly Jesus' brother, are a case of mistaken identity. Recent radiocarbon dating results show that the femur fragments, which have resided at the Santi Apostoli church in Rome for the past 1,500 years, belong to someone else. St. James the Younger lived during the 1st century BC, according to the study which was published in the journal Heritage Science, and the bones date back to sometime between 214 and 230 AD. Our dates, although disproving it was St. James, fall in a dark period between the time when the apostles died and Christianity became the dominant religion in the Roman Empire, lead study author Lund Rasmussen told Life Science. So, whose bones are they? The bones thought to belong to St. James were transported to the church of Santi Apostoli during the 6th century, but nobody knows where they came from. They were moved along with tibia fragments and a mummified foot, thought to belong to fellow apostle St. Philip. The team decided against attempting to determine the age of the remains believed to be St. Philip's, citing difficulties relating to decontaminating the bones. Although the alleged remains of St. James turned out to be someone else's bones, researchers believe that they do belong to an early Christian. Number 7. Fish lung. Researchers in Morocco recently examined the fossilized lung of a previously unknown ancient fish species belonging to the mysterious Coelacanth order, which was thought to be extinct until someone discovered a live specimen in 1938. The species in question, which is extinct, measured an estimated 17 feet long, almost the size of a great white shark. The evidence dates back roughly 66 million years to the end of the Cretaceous period, when 75% of life on Earth, including the dinosaurs, was wiped out by an asteroid. Study co-author David Martill said that the discovery was made in a place where coelacanths were never found before. Here's where it gets a little confusing. The fossilized lung's owner, a pterosaur collector, originally mistook the specimen as a pterodactyl skull. Upon re-examination, he realized that he might be wrong, and so he contacted Martill for an expert opinion. Martill couldn't tell based on pictures alone what the fossil represented, but once he saw it in person, he suspected that it was a coelacanth lung. Brazilian paleontologist Paulo Brito, a world-leading coelacanth expert, confirmed Martill's suspicions and was reportedly astonished by the size of the specimen. It was bigger than all other known ancient coelacanths, which measured 10 and 13 feet long. Modern coelacanths are much smaller, reaching just 6 feet long. Researchers are unsure where the rest of the fossilized specimen's body ended up, but they believe it may have been eaten, and damage to the lung also indicates that this is a distinct possibility. but as Martill pointed out, there is no way of knowing for sure how the animal died. Number 6. Ancient cesspit. While conducting preliminary excavations in anticipation of building a new sewer beneath the Courtauld Gallery in London last year, construction workers discovered a giant medieval cesspit at the site. The 15-foot deep pit was filled with a trove of around 100 medieval artifacts dating back to the 14th and 15th centuries, including ceramic vessels, a ring, pendant, belt buckle, forks, and other utensils. The most bizarre artifact found in the pit is a rare medieval tile bearing a depiction of a strange mythical creature with a human head at one end and a leaf-like tail at the other. During different times throughout history, the pit had different uses. It was remodeled into a cellar during the 17th century, and a latrine was added at some point thereafter. Archaeologists from the Museum of London Archaeology are conducting the excavation, which has revealed a lot of new information about the site's past, especially since there are few known existing records from the late medieval era, which include an inaccurate drawing from 1543. These new discoveries are helping experts better understand medieval London settlements and the buildings that were constructed afterward. Simon Thurley, the former chief executive of the English Heritage Charity, said of the discovery, "It's unusual to get excited about a cesspit. It's an incredibly significant find." Number 5. Leahy horse. In 2018, landscapers unearthed a horse skeleton in an ancient lake in Leahy, Utah, in somebody's backyard. Experts originally believed the specimen was a 16,000-year-old mare who roamed the area during the last ice age. But a new study recently found that it was a domestic horse, and that the skeleton is no more than 340 years old. Prehistoric wild horses existed in North America starting millions of years ago and went extinct around 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age, most likely due to a combination of climate change and human activity. The wild horse populations that exist on the continent today formed after Europeans brought the animals over, and some of them escaped. The Leahy horse died when she was around 12 years old. Native Americans living in the area at the time, perhaps a member of the Ute or Shoshone communities, raised and rode her, lead study author William Taylor told Life Science. He further explained that new radiocarbon dating results put her death at some time after 1680, before Europeans settled in what is now the Salt Lake region. Fractures in the horse's back and severe arthritis point toward the likelihood that she was ridden, as these types of injuries are reportedly rare in wild animals, serving as additional evidence that she lived more recently than the last ice age. An isotope analysis of her teeth showed that she ate local vegetation, indicating that people cared for her. Number 4. Ancient shell horn. For decades, a large conch shell that researchers now believe may be the oldest known seashell instrument sat unnoticed at a museum. Discovered in a prehistoric cave dwelling in the Marcellus Cave of the French Pyrenees in 1931, the artifact was originally thought to be a drinking vessel. But a recent fresh look at the 12-inch long conch shell revealed that it is no beverage cup, but a wind instrument, and it still plays, despite being roughly 18,000 years old. The team invited a French horn player to try it out, despite archaeologist Carole Fritz's fear that it might break. Thankfully, it didn't, and ABC reported that it played C, C-sharp, and D notes. The researchers, whose findings were published earlier this year in the journal Science Advances, examined the instrument after someone found it during an inventory at the Natural History Museum of Toulouse and noticed that it had several unusual holes in it and that its tip was broken off. Close inspection revealed that the shell had been deliberately altered. This discovery reminds us that their lives were much richer and more complex than just stone tools and big game, archaeologist Margaret Conkey, who was not involved in the research, told ABC. Because Marcellus Cave is far from the ocean, the team concluded that the conch shell made its way there through a trade network, or it was brought there by nomadic prehistoric people. They created a 3D replica of the instrument, which they are using to learn more about the full range of notes it could once play. Number 3. A personal engraving. While excavating in anticipation of a road construction project in Cambridgeshire, England last year, a team of archaeologists discovered an ancient millstone bearing an engraving of a large phallus. The artifact dates back roughly 2,000 years during the Roman era in Britain. While this may not exactly be most people's idea of art in modern times, it meant something to the people who lived in the area 2 millennia ago. The phallus was seen as an important image of strength and virility in the Roman world, lead archaeologist Steve Sherlock told Cambridgeshire Live, adding that Roman fighters often wore penis-engraved good luck charms before marching onto the battlefield. The rare artifact is one of just 4 decorated Roman millstones that have been discovered throughout Britain, and the latest in a series of baffling discoveries archaeologists have made during the road construction project. Other artifacts that have been found include woolly mammoth tusks, woolly rhino skulls, and evidence that people brewed beer in Britain as early as 400 BC. The objects, which date back to the Neolithic, Bronze and Iron Ages, and Roman, Anglo-Saxon, and medieval periods, also include the second gold coin ever found in Britain that depicts the Roman Emperor Laelianus, who reigned for just 2 months in 269 AD. Number 2. Maliwawa figures. Western Arnhem Land, located in Australia's Northern Territory, is extremely archaeologically rich, containing several thousand rock art sites. New discoveries are made there every year. Last year, researchers described a previously unknown rock art style in the journal Australian Archaeology. Primarily found throughout the northwestern part of the region, the style, called the Maliwawa figures, is defined by large naturalistic human and animal figures shaded with stroked lines. The team found 572 Maliwawa paintings throughout 87 rock shelters over a distance spanning roughly 80 miles. Writing for The Conversation, the researchers described the figures as typically measuring at least 20 inches high. Some are life-sized, while others are small, measuring just 8 to 20 inches high. They are red to mulberry colored and likely date back between 6,000 and 9,400 years. Most of the images depict humans interacting with animals, with an emphasis on kangaroos and wallabies. These human-animal relationships seem to be the central focus of the paintings, which appear to show animals participating in human activities in some cases, according to the study's authors, who explain that scenes like these in rock art are rare worldwide. The Maliwawa figures provide an unprecedented look at how Aborigines lived and their culture and beliefs. Some of the paintings feature extinct animals, including thylacines. Many of the humans in the images are male and can be identified as such based on their genitalia, while the gender of others are unidentifiable and a small number are women. These fascinating discoveries highlight the importance of preserving Australia's often overlooked indigenous artifacts. Number 1. Human Skull Tower. Archaeologists excavating a building in the center of Mexico City have discovered an Aztec tower of human skulls. Known as Huayzonpantli, it is a circular tower made from human skulls that was part of a skull rack from the temple to the Aztec god of the sun, war, and human sacrifice, Huitzilopochtli. Located near the Templo Mayor archaeological site in Mexico City, which the Aztecs called Tenochtitlan, it measures roughly 16.4 feet in diameter and dates back to the late 15th and early 16th centuries. The site was first uncovered in 2015, and by 2017, archaeologists had discovered 484 skulls. In March of last year, they found 119 more skulls, bringing the total to 603. The skulls belong to men, women, and at least 3 children, according to Rodrigo Bolaños Martínez, an archaeologist with the National Institute of Anthropology and History. It was extremely unusual to find children's skulls. Something is happening that we have no record of, and this is really new, a first in the Huayzonpantli, he said. His team members said that it's likely that some of the skulls belong to individuals who were sacrificed to the Aztec gods, while others were warriors. But through their sacrifice, they all were made sacred, turned into gifts for the gods, or even personifications of deities themselves. The team says that human sacrifices were a daily ritual in Mesoamerica, and that these gory practices were carried out with the purpose of renewing nature and the continuity of life itself. The Aztecs displayed freshly severed heads on Zonpantli, or skull racks, a practice that was common among several Mesoamerican societies. After they were done being exhibited, the skulls were transferred to the tower. Hernán Cortés and the Spanish conquistadors he led on the conquest of Tenochtitlan in 1521 witnessed human sacrifices and were absolutely horrified by the practice. Researchers believe that the Huayzonpantli is one of 7 similar structures that once stood in the area, based on contemporary accounts of the city's capture by Cortés. They also believe that the conquistadors destroyed the other structures as soon as they could. Thanks for watching! Which discovery was your favorite? The horse in the backyard? The skulls? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time! Bye!